It was the first day of school in the village of Asani, and Kofi arrived early, as he always did. His eyes scanned the dusty schoolyard, where familiar faces gathered, chatting and laughing. But something, or rather someone, caught his attention that morning. Amina, the new girl in town, stepped into the classroom. She moved with quiet grace, her eyes wide with curiosity as she took her seat by the window. Kofi couldn't help but feel drawn to her, though he hadn't even spoken a word. The teacher, Mr. Tano, introduced Amina to the class, and Kofi's heart raced when her eyes met his for a brief moment. It was a simple glance, but it felt like the start of something he couldn't quite explain. Days passed, and Kofi found himself stealing glances at her whenever he could. Amina always sat by the window, her hair catching the golden sunlight as she focused intently on her studies. Kofi felt something stir within him, though he wasn't sure what to call it. One afternoon, as Kofi was leaving school, he saw Amina struggling with a stack of books. Without thinking, he rushed over to help. Their hands brushed ever so briefly, and they exchanged shy smiles. It was their first real interaction, and it left Kofi feeling something warm and unfamiliar. Soon, Kofi and Amina began to study together. They would sit under a large tree after school, sharing notes and ideas. Their laughter filled the air as they grew more comfortable with one another, and their bond deepened. Kofi realized he enjoyed her company more than anyone else's, and he suspected that Amina felt the same. As the village festival approached, the excitement grew. Amina asked Kofi if he would be attending, and though he was nervous about the idea of dancing, he said yes. On the night of the festival, Kofi watched from afar as Amina danced gracefully with her friends. The moonlight illuminated her, making her seem almost otherworldly. Eventually, she approached him and asked if he wanted to dance. Hesitant but eager, he took her hand, and together they swayed to the music, their hearts beating in time with the rhythm. After the dance, they walked along the quiet path back home. The stars above seemed to watch over them as Kofi finally gathered the courage to tell Amina how he felt. He confessed his growing affection, unsure of what her response might be. Amina blushed and, with a soft voice, admitted that she had felt the same way for some time. It was a moment of pure joy, as they both realized their feelings were mutual. But as with all things in life, not everyone was happy with their blossoming relationship. The other students noticed how close Kofi and Amina had become, and whispers spread through the classroom. Some were supportive, while others were jealous. Rumors swirled, but Kofi and Amina remained focused on each other, determined not to let the gossip affect their bond. One day, Mr. Tano, aware of the growing closeness between them, called them aside after class. He warned them that love could be a distraction from their studies, a distraction they couldn't afford if they wanted to succeed. His words weighed heavily on Kofi's mind. Doubt began to creep in, and soon he found himself distancing from Amina. He convinced himself that focusing on his studies was the right choice, even though it left an empty space in his heart. Amina, confused and hurt by Kofi's sudden distance, wrote him a letter. In it, she expressed her sadness and asked him what had changed. She reminded him of the dreams they had shared, of the plans they had made for the future. Kofi read the letter over and over, and it stirred something within him. He realized that their love didn't have to be a distraction. Instead, it could be a source of strength. Determined to make things right, Kofi sought Amina out. He found her by the river, sitting alone, her face pensive as she stared at the water. He approached her, apologized for pushing her away, and reassured her that his feelings hadn't changed. Amina listened quietly, then smiled, her eyes bright with understanding. They embraced, their hearts once again in harmony. From that day forward, Kofi and Amina became an even stronger team. They supported each other through their studies and dreams, finding balance in their love and ambitions. Their relationship became an example for the other students in the village, a reminder that love and success could coexist. Years passed and graduation day arrived. Kofi and Amina, now at the top of their class, stood side by side as they received their certificates. They had achieved their goals together, and their love had only grown stronger. As they looked out at the cheering crowd, They knew this was just the beginning of their journey. After graduation, they left the village to pursue higher education in the city, but they promised to return one day. They weren't just leaving as individuals, but as partners, united by their love and their shared dreams. As they walked down the road toward their future, the village elders watched with pride, knowing that Kofi and Amina's story would be told for generations to come. Their love was not just a romance, but a testament to the power of unity, ambition, and mutual respect. Kofi and Amina had found a way to balance their hearts and minds, and in doing so, they created a legacy of love and strength that would inspire others for years to come.